I just got back from a walk. Look at these piss stains. It's so hot in Arizona still. It's like 103, but I always try to get my little bit of cardio in. So the most pressing thing on my walk was I was thinking about MBTI and some of the mental health things that people may think go along with different MBTI types. And whether it's cluster B personality disorders or whatever other issues, what got me thinking about this was sometimes a topic will come up when I start to see a theme somewhere. I hear something develop over time, somebody talk about something, and then later I hear somebody talk about it. So I was talking to a friend who was dating a guy, and I asked how that was going, and I knew he was an INTP, but she said, I'm starting to wonder like if he's a little bit on the spectrum. And I was like, no, he's not. Because she was like, she dealt with children that have autism. And so she was pretty knowledgeable and aware. I said, no, I think that's just a INTP thing. Now, I don't talk about things from a cognitive function standpoint. So INTP being TINESIFE. I'm not going to talk about how the functions like come into play here, and I know a lot of people do, and I appreciate those videos, but I like to sometimes talk about my perception of the functions and versus the actual functions. So I guess I like to make it more about the person than the function stack. So I mean, if you think about it though, to run down the functions quickly, with a inferior FE and a dominant TI, you would think that there would be a disconnect from picking up on social cues and picking up on some of this stuff. Also TINE, if you look at I guess we're going to call it the reverse, and MBTI is interesting because for me as an ENTP, what's the reverse of me? Is it a ISFJ who has like my same function stack flipped? Is it a INTP who has my same function stack flipped a different way? Is it somebody who, when we start getting into all 8 functions, is the reverse of me? Is it somebody like an INTJ who has my function stack with reversed introversion, extroversion? So, how did I get off on that tangent? I don't even know why I said that. But I think for me being I know how I got off on that. Talking about if we flip the TINE and we look at FINE and INFPs, if you think about how lost INFPs can get in their feeling, think about an INTP and the reverse happening, or the same thing happening with thinking. So I think if you think about if you know INFPs well, or if you're an INFP, if you think about an INTP having the same issues but with their thinking function and getting really lost in their head with their thinking, I think that maybe gives a little perspective into INTPs. Now, while I was walking, I was talking to my son today because he's an INTP. I was talking to him about how it works. I'm trying to figure out, being NETI myself, I have some grasp. Sometimes it's hard for me to separate those two functions because they feel like they're me, and they're just completely congealed and mixed together. So I was trying to figure out what TINE would feel like, and it's hard for me to fathom trying to reverse my own functions, but I could definitely see. I've heard the phrase that the INTJ and the INTP would be considered like the warmest robot and the coldest human, and I could see where that would be true. I know for a fact that I've always really enjoyed INTPs. I really like them. I relate to them. Some of my favorite people that I've ever had in my life are INTPs, and my son is one of them. He's for sure one of my favorite human beings I've ever met. But I could definitely see where, even though I know that he's not cold and emotionless, I can see how he definitely could seem that way. And he struggles to pick up on social cues. And it's like I have these moments with him where it's like this whole half of the conversation was just in his head, and then he starts verbalizing this half of the conversation, whereas I don't know what the start of it was. So I have to be like, wait, what are we talking about? Wait, how did the guy end up on the ship? Like, I don't understand. I'm lost here. And I don't know how that internal dialogue feels to the INTP. But I could definitely see where it looks like they're on the spectrum, because they're not picking up on some of the social stuff. Even in conversations, my son will do this, where we'll all be having a conversation on topic. I remember this happened one day, and all of a sudden he's like, "Did you know that the Chinese used to make armor out of paper?" And everybody just started laughing, because it was so out of place. It was just such a random that he like kicked in there. And I think this happens with some other types. I like to speak about what I talk about, and I try to caveat something if I'm just kind of going off into the realm of guessing. But I could see where people see ENTPs as having ADHD. In a lot of cases, we probably do, but I could see how somebody would mistake ADHD and ENTP. I could also even see how they could mistake bipolar and ENTP, because we get excited about our ideas and we could seem really manic, and then we'll like lose interest and just be like, and we'll be back to like sitting at the computer researching something and looking depressive, even if we're not. I could see how INFPs would get typed with a lot of different. I could see where they could possibly have the same issue with bipolar, because they may, or depression, or other similar issues. I could see where a lot of different types could present as having a particular mental disorder, when in reality it's just a personality thing, and that's intrinsic to our type. So those are my thoughts on this. I've been wanting to get this video out for a bit, so I got it out now. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, or you have any comments, or you can relate, or any stories about INTPs that back up what I'm saying or my thinking on this, I would love to hear them. And of course, this isn't to say that an INTP couldn't also be bipolar, but I have made videos on mental health issues and MBTI, as I don't think MBTI becomes nearly as effective when we start delving into some mental health issues on top of MBTI. So, peace out.